Maybe I'm crazy, but the Dolphins are going to the Super Bowl.
No, you are crazy.
Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins number one. You know that song.
You made it
Miami
up
Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
Did you put any team there?
Miami Dolphins number one. No, that's the real song. We sing
LA
that.
Lakers.
We sing it at the
LA
stadium.
Lakers.
Don't do it. No, that's not.
LA
that's not
Lakers
it.
number one.
No, I don't know who the LA Acres are. It seems like a very nice neighborhood. That's really the song in the stadium. It's that ridiculous.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not.
Welcome to Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. That is actually a song. Shout out 305.
Okay, we'll look it up.
I'm Joy Taylor. That's Brandon Newman.
Hola.
Don't look it up. It's awful footage. We've had this conversation before. Remember there's like a T-Pain remix, which we all tried to forget.
Oh, yes. No, well, that's the one. You should sing that one.
No, we should not. We've all forgotten that one. And then there's Fins Up. Fins to the left, fins to the right. We're at the only game in town. That one.
You have no heart when you sing it.
You
gotta really like you got.
Well, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it.
Fins to the left, fins to the right. I did the opposite, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Bone Crusher? Oh my God.
Attention!
Oh my God.
Josh Rosen.
That would be such a great intro.
Okay, so that's how the Bone Crusher.
Right, we need 1% of that when you get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have Jordin Canada on today, WNBA Seattle Storm point guard.
Yes, champion.
Warning, snowflake warning. We are going to talk about women getting paid equally.
Women playing sports and getting paid.
Oh my God. It's like trigger warning 5,000.
Horror movie for some of y'all.
Oh, your sensitivities are going to be triggered, misogynist. Anyway, we'll also talk about the Dolphins and Josh Rosen, the New York Football Giants. The Houston Rockets have major beef with the referees, which I think is very ill-advised, but we'll talk about that. Kyler Murray, White Lightning. You know about White Lightning? I'm going to tell you about White Lightning. White Lightning.
Okay.
It's very fast.
All right.
The Avengers, obviously, we're going to talk about the Avengers and Game of Thrones. Don't worry, we'll say spoiler alert before we say something. So
this whole thing.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiling your day with talk of fair pay and lots of other things. All right, so let's get started with Jordin Canada. All right, Jordin Canada, point guard for the Seattle Storm, UCLA alumni, along with Ariana Berlin, gymnastics, and really just everywhere. Ariana's everywhere. We're gonna get to that a little bit later.
Yeah.
But you've been doing some things.
Yeah. You've been behind the scenes. We're gonna get to you.
Because I feel like you have stories and stuff, and you're not sharing. Being stingy. Yeah. Anyway, Jordin, thank you for joining us. Thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
You were drafted 5th overall by the Seattle Storm last year.
Hey.
I've seen a couple of your games at UCLA, and obviously you have a relationship with Earl, and Earl's my fiance, Earl Watson. Obviously, we were actually, just low key, we were in the gym. Yeah. She was in the gym.
Oh, y'all was in the gym?
Yeah. Last night. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Put in work. Because she's dedicated. I sat there eating cheese sticks, but I watched.
Yeah, of course.
So, and learning, just absorbing the greatness in the gym, the women's gym, which is very nice, by the way.
Which one was
Earl also said that I couldn't hit a 3-pointer, which is
she
offensive.
hit one.
Yeah.
On the second try.
Yeah.
Okay.
No more
okay.
Yeah. Thank
That's
you.
one of those things.
You know what? I appreciate you saying that because
No.
Earl always tries to front and change up the story.
Yeah.
So we need it on the record. I always have to have witnesses.
You do too, by the way.
I do not.
But that's why I need a witness. I was about to say it's good that Jordin came off because the other came out of your mouth. I'd have been like, you know what I'm saying?
That's just rude.
Yeah.
That's rude. I'm taking offense
No,
to that. Listen, I'm a showman. We got to exaggerate sometimes.
Man, ice in your veins. Ice in your veins.
Yeah. All right. Well, so you won a championship your first year.
Yeah. That's
what was that like?
Greatness.
It was crazy because I never thought in a million years my first year I would come in and win a championship. And to actually contribute, because, there's some people, some teams that come in with rookies, they don't play that much. But I actually had a pretty solid role with this team. And I actually came in, contributed. And that's what's so crazy to me. I feel like I actually was involved in winning the championship and not just, sitting on the sideline and just watching. But it was great. It's an amazing feeling. I know what it's like to be in a championship atmosphere now. So I'm just ready to get after it. And hopefully go back to back.
Well, how does the game change? Like we talked a lot about college basketball for women's, and Notre Dame's big community there, so I've watched a lot. How's the game changed from the collegiate level to when you hit WNBA?
It's a lot different. Just the speed of the game, the IQ of the game. You're playing against stronger, faster, quicker women. And so you just got to be on it. Like things that I did in college, I could not do in the pros. Scoring is much difficult. Like I just had a hard time at trying to adjust. And then towards the end of the season, I kind of got used to it. But my teammates were big help in that, just helping me out as much as possible. And the defensive schemes are different. Like every night, like you have a couple players on teams and you're playing them different versus in college. Like you have one scheme that you follow all through the game. And then in WNBA, you have like switching on this player, you have hedging on this player. So you always have to be alert and aware of who you're guarding at all times. And that was the most difficult part for me, was trying to come in and defend and play against Diana Taurasi, play against Skylar Diggins. It's just really tough, but I learned a lot. So I'm excited for this season.
What was the biggest transition off the court from college to pros? Because you just talked about all the adjustments that you have to make on the court. Like what personally was different?
Being independent. If you're in college, everything's handed to you. Food, you got meetings all the time. Like everything is just given to you. When you're in the pros, like I remember the first game we were playing against Arizona at Arizona. Playing against Phoenix, and we got off the bus, and they were like, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, what? There's no meetings. We don't have dinner together. Like, you got to find food on your own. You got to learn to, like, adjust. And you have so much free time. So it's like, what are you going to do in those free time? And, like, I had no idea what I was doing. I would usually sit in the hotel and just be chilling, like, taking naps and everything, like, trying to figure out what I'm going to eat. But it's so much more independent. And I love it because, like I said, in college, like you're so used to having your time being managed by school and your coaches. It's just really difficult. But that was something that I loved, was having more free time.
Yeah, it's a totally different routine from the pros to college from the pros. What's it like playing with Sue Bird, Breanna Stewart? Like you mentioned some of the all-time great players that you go against, but those women are on your team.
It's amazing. Everyone that knows me knows Sue Bird is my favorite player of all time.
That's dope.
So when I got drafted to Seattle, I was just like in shock because I was like, wow, I actually get to play with my favorite player of all time. Like, this is crazy. My first interaction with her was like actually really embarrassing because I didn't know what to say to her because I was like so in shock. I was starstruck, and we had this like little interview with us together, and she was asking me questions, and literally the first thing she said is, "What's your favorite type of bird?" And I was like, "What? Like, what are you talking?" She's like,
Sue Bird.
She's like, there's lots of birds. There's chicken. There's big bird. Like, what is your favorite type of bird? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess like big bird. Like, so awkward. And I felt so stupid.
That's a question.
Yeah, it was a simple question. And she was like, if this is the hardest question, like, we're gonna have problems. And I was like, oh shit. Like,
yeah, it's tough, man.
It's tough.
Meeting your idols. It
really is tough. I never thought I would run into that problem, but I did, and now, like, we're cool. Like, I have no problem talking to her, but learning some stuff from her on the court, just learning how to be a professional off the court, how she carries herself, how she's so into the details and the little things, especially as a point guard. That's so important. I mean, coming into the league, point guard is the hardest position to play and learn to adjust. So just learning those little things from her has helped me improve my game throughout the season. And so I hope she stays around a lot longer because I desperately
keep sponging off her.
Keep sponging off her for sure.
So talking about next year, obviously you guys just won a championship, and you talked about repeating, but you lost Breanna Stewart. So Stewie's out, which was much discussed, which we'll talk about in a few minutes.
A lot of heat.
But what are you expecting your role to be this year? Because that's obviously a huge loss.
Well, hopefully to bring in some more points. Like I said, last year was a lot more difficult for me to score. So I think coming in, just having that mindset of being more confident in my shot, creating more opportunities for my teammates, and defensively, I think is going to be something that's really important for me to bring to the team this year, is my defense and my aggressiveness. So hopefully, that's something that I could bring to the team this year.
What kind of defensive player do you consider yourself? Because, me personally, eons ago, when I was a player.
Talk to me,
well, I did talk. I talked a lot. Now,
Yeah.
you are not, I don't think you're a talker.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm talking about talk to
Earl
us. Tell
tries-
me about what you talking about. What
No, I was a talker, and I
Okay.
was a cheater. I would cheat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, not cheat, but, you know, like, just do little things. Like, I would like to get in people's minds. You know what I mean? Because I'm little.
Okay.
So, I'm like, you know, I was 97 pounds in high school. So, it's not like I was, like, little. Like, little.
Right,
So,
yeah.
you know, like, just pull on a little jersey. Just a little jersey tug.
Yeah. Let them know you're there.
And just say something mean. And then just
Right.
kind of scurry off
Yeah.
before the ref sees. Stuff like that.
Nah, I'm not one of those people. Earl tried to get me to be a talker. I'm like, I'm not gonna talk shit. Like that's
Yeah,
not who I.
he may or may not be known to talk a little from time
Camps
to
out
time.
in everyone's head.
That's not who
Yeah.
I am.
Well,
I usually,
oh yeah. So we played beach volleyball
Mm-hmm.
as a collective, and you already know what it's like to compete with Earl
Yes.
in non-actual competitive situations.
Yeah, it's not fun.
And you know he tends to take it to another level. And we never are on the same team because when we are on the same team, we fight.
No, fight when I was on the opposite team.
Yeah, well, we fight more. So it's just like we gotta, you gotta make decisions.
You get mad at me because I'm listening to Earl where Earl don't stop
Okay,
talking
so
to
that's
me.
what I'm saying. Like you get in your mind. You know what I mean? So that's why we can't be on the same team because we have the same mentality. Like
Okay.
you got to get in your opponent's mind
Yes.
in one way or another. And you and Ashley would not stop listening to him. He knows what to say. Like she's a big Spurs fan, so he was like talking about Popovich and saying things he doesn't even mean, and like getting her off. It got both of you off your game. It's frustrating. I don't like to lose. Anyway, so what kind of defender are you?
I'm an on-ball defender. I'm very aggressive. That's something that I just love playing defense. On ball is probably who I am as a player.
I was going to ask you how that's changed just because obviously coming out of college, stealing the ball more than anyone else, setting records on both sides of the ball. But you talked about the intelligence going up and the athleticism, and I imagine that it'd be more tough on defense. So how do you take that next step defensively in the WNBA?
Honestly, I think it has to do with my body and adjusting, taking care of it. In college, you know, you don't necessarily have to do those things because
Right.
you're mostly more athletic than most college players. So
One-on-one competition.
I can get away with stuff a lot
Right.
more. But my first year, I struggled. I couldn't even guard Scarlett Diggins. Like when we played them in Dallas, like she just kept driving by me, and my teammates were so upset. And like that's something that I have to just get my body right, my hips, everything. And that's what's so important. And I realized playing in this first year is that I got to take care of my body. So I think if I take care of that, I think I'll be more quicker on defense and with my feet.
So we just talked about Brianna Stewart being injured for the season. That started a big discussion about women's basketball in general because obviously she was playing overseas. You played in Poland,
Poland,
in the
yes.
off season, and a lot of that for people who don't know, it's money. Like most women baskuball players have to go overseas to make
Secure
more
the bag.
money, right?
Yeah.
Than they are making in the WNBA, which is obviously should be a full-time job, a year-round job, but it's not for reasons we'll get into in a minute. But what is it like playing overseas? You were in Poland. I mean, it's obviously not an ideal situation.
listening.
You're away from your family. You're not from there. Like it's culturally, I'm sure it's a big shock.
It was a very big shock. I'm an introvert, so I'm not really outgoing like that. So to go to a country like Poland, you really have to have like a strong mentality to like really stick it out. When I first got there, I wasn't even there for a month and I was already ready to go home. Like I told my parents, I was like, look, I need to get out of here. I told my agent, I was like, I can't be here. Like this is too hard. I need to go somewhere else. And then afterwards, I talking to my parents and my agent, they were like, not everywhere you go is gonna be
Ideal.
any better.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be in situations you may go somewhere else and hate it even more. So
Right.
you might as well just stick it out. You're there for a reason. Like if you can stick this out, then you can go through anything. So sure enough, I had to stay, and it was tough. Like there was times where I was like crying, like it was just hard. And like you don't want to be there. You're away from your family, like you said. Like time difference was a struggle. I was 9 hours ahead, so when it's like morning over there, it's like nighttime over here. Can't talk to anyone until like
more
7
long.
p.m. my time, which is like 10 a.m. here.
Right.
So it was just really difficult. But then when I came back from my break, because I had a Christmas break in December, then I was in Poland from January to April, and I was like, I'm only going to be here for 4 months. I'm here to play basketball. I get paid to do what I do, and I just gotta keep that mindset and just have that in my mind. I had to change my perspective. After that, I started going out more, started seeing the culture, the environment, the people. I had one of my best friends actually come and visit me the last month that I was there, to just to keep me sane. And after that, like, it went by fast. These 4 months went by super quick. And then I was back at home.
Just to put in perspective of what's going on, like, this has been a conversation that's kind of been discussed lightly around the WNBA, and it's kind of picking up now because more WNBA stars are speaking out about it. Sue Bird tweeted something, I believe earlier today. Breanna Stewart, obviously both of these women are your teammates. I haven't seen anyone else tweet about it, but I'm sure they have. But Breanna Stewart responded to a tweet from Hoopfeed from NBA PR. There's recently been inaccurate information reported in the media regarding WNBA pay. In accordance with the CBA, the average compensation for WNBA players last year was $116,000. The top paid players' compensation was more than $187,000. And Stewie wrote, "Oh, so this is what we're doing now." Basically, the NBA pays about 50% of its revenue to players.
Yes.
And the WNBA pays less than 21% of its revenue to players. So there's a misconception out there that, like, there's not enough money.
It's not. And that's false. Because we just got a report on, like, the actual salaries from teams and players, and that's definitely not true.
So No, obviously you have a CBA, and that, kind of prevents things. And I believe is it your players union or the WNBA as a whole is without a president right now?
The WNBA as a whole.
As a whole. So, like, to me, when I was growing up, the WNBA to me was just this incredible thing because I played sports. I was a girl. And I love Cheryl Swoops, and I love Lisa Leslie and Teresa Witherspoon, and, like, all of these OGs that like made actually being a professional basketball player an attainable thing to me. Who I thought I was Michael Jordan, so obviously it didn't matter.
That was the next step for you,
right? Exactly. But, like, in realistic, like, these things matters to young girls. Like, representation matters, and having the actual platform matters. And I think it's important that we have these conversations. Now, I don't know how much you be in your Twitter mentions, but we're talking about equal pay for women, so it really upsets people. Like, it bothers people in their soul. I don't know why, but it's like, I don't know
why.
I don't know.
And it's mostly people that have no idea about sports.
Right.
They just assume,
or business at all.
Or business at all. But you will never hear an NBA player or any professional male athlete say the things that random people say about we shouldn't be getting paid as much. Like, you would never hear professional athletes
actually
say that.
The NBA players advocate for
they advocate
fair pay.
for us.
Any athlete, anyone who spent time in the athletic arena wouldn't say the things that they're saying. That's what you get. Yeah.
It used to bother me, but now it's like irrelevant.
Right.
Because I know who's saying it, where it's coming from. They have no idea. So it's no point in trying to argue with somebody on Twitter.
No, don't do that. I'm just warning you because for whatever reason, it's a trigger for this group. Like, if you say, like, a woman should be paid equally, it's like it's like red eyes, and it just becomes like this zombie effect of all of these reasons why that's not a realistic thing. I don't know what it is, but it's like it's in them. It's a part of the DNA.
My friends who played basketball at Notre Dame, the women, they spend some time clapping back at people. Shouts out to Devereaux Peters. Like, so I see it on my timeline a lot, and I see the things that people say, and it's no basis at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just, if you're going to bother to argue against it, at least have facts, and not. And that's part of the reason why I don't mind people clapping back or speaking out about this, because there is in general, there's an overall lack of facts and reality on Twitter in general. But this is like an extra level. Every time I ever put out there, like, I could just tweet women should get equal pay, and it would be the hottest tweet I put out all year. Most interactions, period.
Equal pay
but what
trending.
people right, for sure. But what people don't understand when it comes to this is what WNBA players are asking for is not to be paid like James Harden.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just to be paid fairly based off of the money and the revenue that the WNBA brings in.
Exactly.
I know what I just said is a very complicated thing, but I'm gonna just say it one more time real slow.
Please.
No one's asking for NBA money. All they're asking for is fair pay based off the money that the WNBA makes.
And don't even get started on the fact that it's 2019 and we're having this conversation still.
That I can't get caught up in that because
Like,
we could just there's a whole list of other things. But is what I'm saying fair though? Like that's
It's very fair. Not
reality.
once have we asked for NBA money. Like we know that's ridiculous. But
You
we
know the
do want to
revenue that
play.
brings
We do
in.
want to get paid a fair amount. I
Yeah.
mean, we're playing the same sport. So what's the difference?
I'm
of us not
with
getting
you.
paid more. I don't understand. But like you said, there's a lot of complications. It's very complex. I don't know what plans to happen in the future. But, I mean, we're getting better slowly but surely. But there's a lot more improvements to be made. So it's going to change.
It's always good games and good basketball on the court. I love going to Sparks games in LA. If you haven't been, you should go. It's so much fun. But it seems like there's someone at the top who's not marketing the WNBA for fans of the WNBA.
Well, I've been saying that for a while now. Like to me, what sets the NBA apart from all other leagues, and I've talked a lot about this when it comes to the NFL as well. Sorry, my microphone is getting on my nerves.
yeah.
There we go. I've talked a lot about this when it comes to the NFL as well. Is I believe you should market stars because I think the world has changed. And people care way more about the name that's on the back of the jersey than on the front of the jersey in all leagues. So to me, the WNBA, like all those stars that I just listed, like there's stars in the WNBA, and we need to know about them. Like promote your stars, know the personalities. Like we know personal things about NBA stars, and that's what we need from WNBA stars as well. Like that's what I would like to see. But
True, I agree. But it's kind of hard when like you don't really get those same opportunities because we're overseas.
right,
Like,
well that's
you know,
what I'm
During
saying.
the
Like
time,
that's
yeah.
what needs to
Problem,
change.
like-
yeah.
And our season is so much shorter. Like we only play 36 games
right.
and then playoffs. So, and even then, like the first 2 rounds are one and done. So it's not like you're playing a series. Yeah, it's like first two games are one and done, and then the last 2 rounds, semifinals and finals, are best out of 5. So we're not even playing best out of 7.
Right.
And most of our games are not even on ESPN. Like sometimes I turn on ESPN, there's like poker games and other stuff. I'm like,
Spike ball.
yeah, I'm
Trash.
like, you can't.
I really thought the most offensive thing was the what is that stupid cornhole?
What's going on ESPN?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a cornhole tournament.
Yeah.
I think that's like the line for me. That's where I draw the line. Speaking of personality, so my producer Ashley found this, but I actually saw this also at one of your games. So she reminded me of it, that you guys play like the in arena like interviews and stuff. Like so I think you were voted like best singer or something on your team, right?
Yes.
Okay, is that consistent? UCLA, they said you got the pipes back then too?
Yeah, they will always force me to sing whenever I do an interview.
Okay, cool. Us too. Sing.
No,
I
what you
would, but
singing?
honestly, like my voice, I'm losing my voice. Like,
Oh.
What you
Okay.
compare yourself to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
compare?
yeah, like, you know,
Yes.
I think, like, at my top level, like, I'm probably a decent cruise singer. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like, you know what I mean?
okay. So like what level?
Well,
like if you had to
a
sing, if you
Jared
had to
LeVert.
sing professionally, that's a fun game.
Yeah.
If you had to sing professionally, what level could you reach?
Jared
I am
LeVert cruise singer.
definitely a vagabond in Santa Monica level.
A what?
Yes, like not like I'm asking people. I'm asking people for money. Like I don't even have the permit. Like I'm just standing on the corner singing. Yeah.
Okay, so you got a little kiosk.
Because
and you're like-
promenade, for those of you who don't know, Jordan's from LA, obviously. So the promenade, you have to have a permit. So like if you
Yes.
come to Santa Monica and you walk on the promenade, the people
Yeah.
singing, they actually have to have a permit, which I'm assuming you have to pay for. I'm not that level.
Yeah,
In my mind,
Right.
I'm incredible. But I'm actually not.
Really, though?
I used to
I'm
sing in church though. So before I hit puberty, you know, I was there.
You grew up black. Like,
So
sing in
that
church.
doesn't count. All right.
you kind of have to.
So what level are you?
If I really took singing seriously, I think I could do it professionally. Not to brag, I'm not one of those.
Oh,
people,
no.
but
No,
I
listen,
think
we brag about
We
ourselves.
take
all the
shots
time.
on this
if I
podcast.
really took it seriously, I could do it professionally.
Damn. Okay.
So you're not gonna hit one note?
No. Okay, chill on
I
the note
really
asking.
would, but seriously, like I'm losing my voice.
Yeah.
Do you do karaoke?
That's how serious she is. She don't even do the. She
So you
do
don't
it for
share
the
your
free.
talent. You don't even.
She don't
you
even like do some
A
other
lot
people's
of my
stuff.
friends have said, "Why don't you like post stuff on Instagram and like record yourself singing and put it out there?" And I'm very shy. Like I said, I'm an introvert. Like
Yeah.
I don't really like.
You should.
Once I get like really comfortable with people, then I
Right.
start singing. Like I don't really care, but yeah, I'm very shy, so I don't really like put it out there like I should.
But if you feel like you could sing professionally, then you probably don't have anything to be embarrassed about.
What's the thing you sing? What's your go-to? When like they ask me to sing, I'm doing Music Soul Child, Girlfriend.
That is very funny
know what I'm
because
saying?
Music Soul Child Love is my go-to song.
That's how we know you can sing now. Yeah, because there's only people who sing can sing that song.
That is my go-to song.
If I do karaoke, it's Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Stop!
What do you mean?
Stop!
What?
I didn't even watch that on the plane yesterday. I was like, I gotta watch it. I was like, nah, I'm not watching that.
It was an incredible song. It's incredible, and it's amazing for karaoke because no one dares to sing that song, and I nail it. It's all about the showmanship. Freddie Mercury, hello.
Okay, congrats.
No one actually expects you to sound good when you sing karaoke.
I mean, my karaoke song is speaking of Seattle. Shouts out Kurt Cobain. Smells Like Teen Spirit. Like,
What do you mean? You're making fun of me?
well, you gotta have some pipes. There's some range in that song.
Don't. First of all,
Alright.
you don't have to sing good to sing karaoke. It's the whole point of karaoke.
I don't know about that. LA got some performers. You go to LA karaoke, you get entertained. Straight up.
I think we need to have a podcast karaoke day.
I'm
That would be very interesting. That would be
dumbfounded
fun.
by Jordin. If she took it seriously, The Voice. Like that's it. And then
Yeah.
and people are turning the chair around on some. Sorry, but that's how quick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I believe her.
I know, I believe it too, but it's just based off of the song choice. So before we let you go, you're heading off to training camp tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? Are you ready?
I've been ready.
Dang.
Since I've been back. Like I've just been so excited to get back to Seattle and just get ready for season 2.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. I'm going to come with Earl to come see a game.
Yes. All of you guys should.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, we're in there.
When you're LA, we'll come. We'll come
Yes.
support. We'll make signs.
There's some
Make Brandon hold
preseason
them up.
games coming up too, right?
Yeah, we have actually I'll be here on the 17th of May because we play the Sparks in Pasadena and we don't play them until August 4th and sometime in September. So it'll be a while.
Okay. Well, we will definitely come support you.
Yes.
I did want to ask what NBA, like now that LeBron's out of the playoffs, like what team are you watching? Or what team are you paying attention to?
Yeah, we actually didn't talk any of
Yeah, I
it,
was
which is fine.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Well, right now, obviously Houston and Warriors are.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know who I want to win that series, honestly. I want to say Houston because I want to see something different.
Yeah.
So, but
Warriors imploding.
I don't know. If they play like they did the other night, I don't know.
Do you have a problem with them being so critical of the referees?
No, but I think they had a point. There was definitely some fouls.
Okay, but Jordin,
The last one wasn't. I agree. The last
Okay,
one
yeah, I
wasn't
like
a
that.
foul. But there were some fouls that should have been called.
okay,
that weren't.
but don't you feel like coming from James Harden is a little egregious? He's a Warriors fan. Don't listen to him.
Fair,
Don't
yeah,
ignore
probably.
him.
I think the amount of arguing that he did was a little bit too much. But I mean, he had some points. I mean, he did get fouled on some. Now he can't.
Game 1. I'm telling you, you said
But
LeBron.
I feel like it's gonna be different when it gets to Houston. Like like sometimes when you're playing at home, like when you're on the road, like you're not gonna get a lot of calls on the road.
Right.
But I feel like it's gonna change once they get back to Houston. He's probably gonna get all the foul calls.
Who do you think is going to be in the finals?
On the East side, I want to say the Celtics. I think the Celtics are gonna make it.
Yeah, they're good. Good
And
enough.
I wanna say Houston, but I don't know. I'm gonna say Celtics and Houston.
Ah!
I like that.
I just want to see something different.
So it's like half hope, half prediction.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Who are your top 5 point guards in the NBA right now? Like rank them.
Do you consider Harden a PG?
We for the sake of this conversation, we will. We realize this Chris Paul is the point guard, but for this
Do we?
conversation, we'll acknowledge Harden because he's kind of playing that now.
Okay. Do I have to rank them like in order, or
Yes.
can I just?
Because
All
we're
right.
gonna make a list and put it on the internet for people to criticize.
Yeah, of course. So
All right, in order, I'm very biased, so I'm gonna say Russell Westbrook's number 1.
Well,
Okay.
UCLA.
Okay.
Do that.
Number 2, Dame.
Hmm?
Number 3, Kyrie. Number 4, James Harden. And number 5, D'Angelo Russell.
No Steph?
No, that's a good. I'm okay with that.
I mean, it's your list. That's fine.
Steph's a good PG.
Well, actually,
He's a great PG. Maybe
when you started
now
this
that you
list-
said Steph, I might take D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll put
D'Angelo
Steph in
can
top
wait.
five?
He can
I'll put
wait.
Steph in top
Yeah.
5.
D'Angelo's playing great, though.
He can wait. I actually got confused because when you said Russell Westbrook, I thought you were starting from 5 and going up.
Oh no!
So
I'm
like
going
now,
from 1 to
I'm kind of a
5.
little rattled. But like,
I mean,
yeah, I feel
seriously,
you though.
like
I feel
he's
you though.
gotten three seasons worth of triple doubles.
I
Like
feel you.
I mean,
you can't. Deny
we love
with
Russell
the team that
Westbrook,
he
but
has.
he
like-
gets a lot of criticism.
All the players that I just named, like the team that they have, like in the bench, compared to Russell's team,
True that.
come on now, and he's still doing what he's doing. Like that's amazing. But like I said, I'm biased because I love Russell Westbrook.
It's okay. We're all biased in our own way.
Yeah. UCLA. I'm okay with loyalties based on colleges.
Really? What's the giveaway there?
Don't get me
You know what? I'm surprised that you don't wear like the half jerseys. No, not the crop jersey, like the half jersey, like the half Ball State, half Notre
You know what I'm
Dame.
saying? I
Those
gotta get it
jerseys.
made.
You thought I meant a crop top? That's just strange.
Actually, I
Anyway,
will wear that.
all right. Well, okay. So next time we have you in, you're gonna have to sing for us. So
Yes.
be prepared.
Well,
Drink some lemon tea before you come in.
I'll do it next time I come on the show.
I
I'll
don't
sing
want you
for
to
you guys.
represent incorrectly because
Yeah.
like it would get clipped down and we would share it. So
Right.
you know what I mean? I want you to be happy with it.
That's
you know what I
fine.
mean?
That's fine.
Yeah, we put you in a position to win. Good luck this season. Thanks so much for coming on with us. We'll definitely come and check you out.
Yeah.
And
Thank
if you're in
you.
Seattle, go and see the Seattle Storm play. And when they're in town, also. And you know, if you're in LA, Jordan's an LA girl for life.
Back to back
For
champs.
life.
Let's get it.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
With it or quit it. With it, quit it.
What?
With it. We about to turn up in this bitch.
All right. What am I winning or quitting today?
Your Miami Dolphins drafted 6 footballers over the weekend and traded their 62nd overall pick to the Arizona Cardinals for Josh Rosen's services. Rosen is now getting a second chance with an NBA team. When I say NBA, I mean NFL. That believes in him, but that team is in a division with Tom Brady. Josh Rosen will help the Dolphins finish 3rd in the AFC East. With it or quit it?
Quit it.
Okay.
We are clearly going to be second in the AFC East.
Okay, yeah. Good luck.
So
Le'Veon Bell and Sam Darnold aren't with the Jets.
right,
And Quentin Williams is
with
the
our
Jets.
former coach.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, yeah, okay, that's fair.
So
that's fair.
you know,
That
and
is
there's
fair.
still a Jets, and there's still some things that need to be worked out there.
All I'm saying is, let's slow down.
Okay, listen, I'm excited, and no one's going to take my joy. All right. The thing about it is I love this. Everyone thought that the Dolphins, including me, were tanking this year, and that's no disrespect to Ryan Fitzpatrick, but he admittedly eats a lot of cake, and that seems to be a priority for him. So he is a cake eater, and that, we know how that worked out in Mighty Ducks, and how it's going to work out on the football field. Ryan
Amen.
Fitzpatrick does seem to kind of have this thing where when there's no expectations, he's just incredible. He's
Yeah.
a huge sleeper fantasy football quarterback. And then as soon as you're like, all right, here you go, you must do this, he just forgets how to play football.
Yeah, never mind.
So he's Ryan Fitzpatrick, and
No,
that's
thank you.
fine, right? He's super smart. He's got the
Right.
beard. We know what it is. But it looked like this was not the year for the Dolphins to be making any big moves. Psych, they did.
Yep.
And I love this move. I love this move for Josh Rosen, first of all, number one, because this whole idea that Josh Rosen has a bad attitude or is not becoming of a quarterback, I really feel like is this smear campaign by somebody who just hates him.
Well, it didn't help that his college coach said that if you get him to focus all the way on football, then he can set the world on fire. Because it was a lot of, he's like a millennial. He's got he has a lot of interest outside of football.
Which
and
one?
those were all
Which
knocks.
one of the guys who's been drafted in the past 5 years is not a millennial?
No, I completely agree with you. But that was the only negative Josh Rosen
No,
talk.
there were some other things that happened with Josh Rosen, and I understand it, okay? But the bottom line is this. Josh Rosen has gotten this reputation that I think is just outlandish. Like, for example, I saw online that someone from Arizona, one of the reporters from Arizona, was on WQAM in Miami and was saying that people had a problem with him like recycling. I haven't vetted that at all.
Yes.
But you know, it's on the internet, so I'm assuming that's true.
Well, yeah.
But it's like stuff like that. Like the reaction to Josh Rosen has been like he is too smart. He cares about, you know,
things outside football.
Football.
Andrew
like
Luck has gotten these type of slander from like teammates.
Being too smart?
Yeah, just like he started a book club. You know what I mean? Like they drag football players who aren't traditional meathead football players of the past through the mud.
Not at quarterback, though. And this is what I don't understand about it. And if you're going to be involved in things outside of football, why is it a problem no matter what it is? Like it's this idea about athletes. It's like all you are is an athlete. And it doesn't make any sense. Whatever you do for a living is not all that you do. I work in television. This is not all that I do. Right. I also go home and take naps. Yes. So there's other things that people do outside of their profession. Just because their profession is high profile and you identify them as that profession, that doesn't mean that they don't have free time in which they may choose to read a book.
Right.
And at quarterback, why would that be a negative thing? When you aren't a smart quarterback, you get criticized. So when you are a smart quarterback, you get criticized. I get it, there's only 24 hours in a day, but being like a social activist, like, I don't know, caring about the environment is not something I consider to be a negative with my quarterback. What would you prefer? Throw that trash on the ground, this planet. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like,
I would say if we could look down the history of football players, the ones that litter probably are better football players than the ones that recycle. If we're putting it on paper.
That sounds like a gut data fact.
I'm saying I know football.
The number one quarterback of all time.
You recycled, and that's why you're here now.
Right. Exactly. I mean, agreed upon. For certain positions, I may agree with you on. However, Tom Brady is married to Giselle, who seems to care a lot about the planet. Okay. So I think, I'm not associating, being environmentally conscious as, being a good quarterback, because we've kind of got off the rails here. My overall point is, like, it's okay to have other interests, and I don't understand why that is a negative. Like, being a mindful person as a negative thing. When guys get in trouble, we drag them. When they're too smart and they're involved in their community, we drag them. Yeah. What is it that you want? What is it that you really want? It doesn't make sense to me. And the situation in Arizona was a losing situation for Josh Rosen. Mm-hmm. He was put out there as being a bust, basically, off of 1 year and a horrendous offensive line. Mm-hmm. Was running for his life, as we all know. We saw how that worked out with Jared Goff. Everyone considered him to be a bust, and then he's playing in the Super Bowl this year. So I think you need to give guys a little bit more time than 1 year to determine whether they're a bust or not. And we're talking about Kyler Murray in a minute, but the way that Arizona set this all up, there was no way he was going to succeed. Because how do you go through this whole process with the draft, talking about, Kyler Murray likely going number 1 overall, and then flip and pitch it to your fans if you didn't take Kyler Murray? Like, you've already sold Josh Rosen out. So the minute that actually became a conversation and they didn't come out and definitively say, like, no, we are not taking Kyler Murray, Josh Rosen is our guy, he was dead to the fan base, because now you've already put in their mind, we need this guy. Yeah. And there's no scenario where you could keep both quarterbacks. Thank God they didn't do that. I mean, the last thing I want to do for the next 3 months is talk about quarterback battle in Arizona. So, which we all know how that's going to end. So there was no way that the two of them could stay there. And now, if Josh Rosen was a veteran and Kyler Murray's going to come in and learn from him, and there's some value or teaching that's going to go on there, and then it's a quarterback battle and the young guy wins out, that's one thing. But you can't have a rookie top 10 pick and a second-year top 10 pick and a rookie number 1 overall pick quarterback battle. Disaster. Yeah. And luckily for everyone, they realized that it was and traded him to Miami. I feel like he is going to be the franchise quarterback for Miami. I know no one has any doubt in his skill whatsoever.
Well, okay, franchise quarterbacks for Miami, and don't bring up Dan's name. What are we, like, Chad Pennington? Like, can Josh Rosen be the next Chad Pennington?
It has to end eventually, right?
True.
Eventually, at some point in my lifetime, they have to find the guy, right? Yeah. At least I'm going to believe that.
Right. You should.
And I'm going to believe it's Josh Rosen. I'm going to be optimistic. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go to the playoffs this year. Right. I'm not saying that they're going to dethrone Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I'm optimistic about Josh Rosen in Miami. That's about I'm taking a lukewarm bath. All right. And I feel like that's okay.
Yeah.
Because what it looked like was the
Sting.
Dolphins were tanking. And this also makes the AFC East much more interesting.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Josh Allen in his second year, Josh Rosen in his second year.
Sam Darnold, Le'Veon
Sam
Bell.
Darnold in his second year. Like, yeah, that's going to be very fun to watch AFC East games, regardless of how bad the football actually will be. It's going to be fun watching the quarterbacks figure it out.
And Christian Wilkins attacked Roger Goodell on stage.
Oh my gosh.
That was the most amazing. First of all, shout out to Roger Goodell because
Yes.
a lesser
That is
man would have crumbled.
Yeah, people don't give him enough credit for the amount of love pressed on him. Like those guys are in life changing, and that's the person that's doing it. That's the one they see, and you are getting his hand must be on fire.
On
at the
fire,
end of the night.
first of
back
all.
on fire at the end
Yes,
of the night.
the pounds that Christian gave him
Yeah.
in the back
Ooh.
with those bear pounds, okay, with those paws. First of all, jumping on him, I thought for sure it was going to be a broken leg. And
Suspension.
it was the best moment of the draft for sure.
Well, like Goodell's been like bulking up, getting ready for.
I mean, he was
this year's-
preparing
yeah.
for it.
Yeah,
He definitely pumped some iron in the back.
Yeah.
I don't know how he didn't go down for sure, and he definitely had bruises from that. But it was a great moment. So anyway, overall, I'm very excited about the Dolphins. Thank you for obliging me to rant about that.
Yeah, this should be.
And
should be fun.
most importantly, no tanking for Tua. Thank you,
tanking for Tua. No one should tank for Tua.
Thank you.
No one should tank. So stupid.
Wade in the water.
Wait, don't get me started. Okay, the New York Football Giants have a grand total of 8 wins in the last 2 seasons under general manager. Is that his name? General manager, right? David Gettleman.
Is it gentlemen?
Gettleman.
Jiff?
Gettleman.
Get
One
on.
of those two.
With this in mind, the Giants GM decided to draft Duke quarterback Daniel Jones with the 6th overall pick and his plans for him to sit behind veteran QB Eli Manning, telling the fans, in time, you'll be very pleased. Joy, the Giants are too loyal to Eli Manning. With it or quit it.
Oh, with it for sure. We've been on that though. They are definitely way too loyal to Eli Manning, and I've defended Eli Manning a lot because I think that Eli wears it unfairly. He's worn it for a couple years.
Right.
They haven't had everything around him that he needs, and he's been deteriorating also. But he did win 2 Super Bowls against Tom Brady in his prime, and no one can take that away from him. And he saved the Miami Dolphins from losing their undefeated 1972 season, which is important. Appreciate that, bro.
And a lot of those players,
Shouts to Mercury Morris.
a lot of those players
And
are
a
not
champagne.
playing NFL football anymore. Like a lot of players on that field for those games are no longer playing football.
No. Those days are done. Bye-bye.
Yes,
We're
yes.
done living off the glory days.
He's still
I'm
playing.
just saying, you can't take that away from him.
Okay, yes.
But we're done now. We're done talking about that because it's now, and it's time to replace Eli Manning. And they should have done it last year. And that's no disrespect to Saquon Barkley, who is incredible, but they needed a quarterback.
Yeah.
And this year's not a quarterback draft. And I'm not saying that Daniel Jones isn't going to be good or great. Okay. Here's the thing about the NFL draft. I don't, unless it is just a consensus, like Baker Mayfield,
Right.
number 1, even Kyler Murray, I'm like this on, but like,
Right.
unless everyone's like, this guy's going to go number 1, it's going to be number 2, or number 3, like, okay, those guys, fine.
Yeah.
All right. But everyone is in agreement this feels like a reach. No one was talking about Daniel Jones
Right.
going in the top 10 at all before the
top
draft.
20
it was
possibly.
Kyler Murray, Dwayne Haskins. Some people had him ranked as a second round
Right,
talent.
Luck, because Drew Luck, is that the guy?
Drew
the guy-
Lock.
Drew,
Yeah.
Drew Lock, yeah, with the Broncos picked up.
Right,
I like
so
him more
they
than
claim
Daniel
he
Jones.
was. They were afraid of the Broncos. Who knows? Here's the thing: I don't trust anything the Giants are doing or have done in the past couple of years. Because why would I? Why would anyone? What have you done for me lately? Nothing.
No.
You traded Odell Beckham Jr. You got Saquon Barkley, which he was going to be great no matter where he went. So
Right.
that's not on you.
Extended Sterling Shepard. Like, they're not making moves that are like, oh, this is
Right,
promising.
because you don't have a quarterback. So I don't like assessing the draft from the point of like this guy's a bust or this is unless it's the given picks. This guy's a bust or this is a great pick. Like none of you know. No one knows. Okay, it's real cute.
They don't know.
And it sounds adorable. And of course, this is all we can base it off of is the tape that we have in college and the combine and the interviews, and that's fine. All right, so we're all just guessing here. All right, some guesses are more educated than others. That's fair. But he's right. The only way we're really going to know how great this draft was is 3 years from now. But here's the thing, okay? And this is what drives me crazy about this situation, because the Giants are a marquee cornerstone franchise in the NFL.
True that.
In New York City, they need to be good. The league is better when the Giants are relevant, okay? And this is not a relevant move. This is a discussable move, but it's not a relevance move.
No.
And my issue with Gettleman Gettleman is going on. I know how to say his name before because this bit is going to make it sound like I don't know how to say his name, but I do.
I'm pretty sure it's Gentleman. Also, it's Gentleman.
Okay. Anyway,
Ghetto.
the point is, you can't go out and make a pick like this and then say something like this.
I'd seen Dwayne play in the Big 12. Is that the Big 12 anymore? I don't even know. The championship game, in Indianapolis. I mean, all these guys were at the Senior Bowl, so I decided to stay. I had already, made up my mind I was staying for the game. And frankly, Jordin, he walked out there, and I saw a professional quarterback after the 3 series that I watched.
Okay, so this is what, like, when people don't understand what privilege is, that's what that is. Okay, and
Amen.
this is what I'm trying to say. Okay. I'm just on some women power the past couple weeks. You're just gonna have to bear with me. I watched Beyonce Homecoming, and this is just how I'm feeling. It hasn't worn off me yet. There's no way a woman could go on stage as a GM of a football team and say something that egregious and ever either probably continue to work there or ever get another job. It would be a bonfire of raining hailstorm fireballs on her life if she said something like that. Big 12 what? 3 series what? Sit behind Eli Manning for maybe 3 years. Did you just start your sentence with maybe? Did you just start a sentence with maybe up in here today? Is that what we're doing today in your life? This is what we do? Where they do that at? New York City, people. That's where they do that at.
No
maybe you don't have a plan. So say less. Just say less. You're saying too much. You're giving me too much information to process. And I sometimes I read books, so I process things. You know what I mean? Like Josh Rosen, we sometimes the things like books, reading. I'm listening to what you're saying and I don't understand it. So you can't get mad when people are questioning your strategy when your strategy doesn't make sense. I'd also like to point out the Giants have drafted the MVP of the Senior Bowl at quarterback for the last 3 years. 3 years.
Consistent.
3 years. For the last 3 years. What are you talking about? What do you mean? You don't have it. You just go, like, who won this? It's time to drop. Who won the MVP of the Senior Bowl? Is he still on the board? Still on the board? Yeah, that's him. That's what we're taking.
That's what we're
taking. Give me some notes.
There's a mindset that leads to that, I am sure, but it's kind of like when the Detroit Lions drafted was like 5 wide receivers in a row. So, okay, guys, let's stop. Let's slow down. Let's think about what we're doing right now.
Best on the board. Got to get the best available.
No, sure. Okay, I get there's not that many great receivers in the draft.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen with Daniel Jones. Nobody does, right? Who knows? Maybe he is the next Eli Manning. Okay,
Eli Manning clone.
Maybe he's the next Davis Webb. We don't know yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and they did spend a lot of money on running back last year, who proved that he can catch the ball out of the backfield a lot and can carry the team on his back and his legs and his thighs and his feet and jumping over people
his
and
body,
all those things.
yes,
exactly, all those things. I'm trying to justify it. I couldn't.
No.
I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't. I'm
I know.
sorry.
I feel you.
Yeah, I wanted to.
You're searching, like we
Yeah.
all are, for
But
the
like-
answers, but they're not there. And I don't need the answer. I just need less. Like, say we took Daniel Jones. We like what he had.
Right.
Colin's suggestion was like, say he reminded you of a young Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Just say less, and then allow our imagination to create what you were thinking instead of saying maybe.
And he's going to sit.
And he's going to sit, or you saw him in the Big 12 conference. Because now we know you were dreaming. You were dreaming when you came up with this plan, because that's not a thing.
Yeah, the question
I'm just
originally.
saying, I say something wrong, and I've got 700 tweets immediately letting me
Yes.
know that I misspoke in a 3-hour show, and it's relentless.
He got some too.
Oh, no,
People let him know when he got.
He
when said
got it
something
wrong. He got it wrong,
Yeah,
as he
people let him
should.
know.
As he
Yeah.
should. I'm just saying, maybe you can't get it that wrong.
Yeah, the question was going to be the Giants have lost their damn mind, win it or quit it. But I mean, that goes without saying, I think.
Yeah, we're there. We're there. Hear ye, hear ye. The Rockets are petty. So the Rockets have decided that they have not been officiated fairly in these playoffs, aka the series against the Golden State Warriors. There was a couple questionable calls. I feel like they were fouls, but the referees call the games more loosely in the playoffs, as we all know, except for the
Right.
Houston Rockets. They didn't get that memo. And they're playing the Warriors, and they're upset. So They basically are talking crazy about him. Chris Paul's been fined for giving him a little shove.
Yes.
They came out with this. It's basically like a report, a montage or something about the officiating in 2018's Western Conference Finals, which is premier level petty. I appreciate it.
Some research.
Basically, we're saying that the referees were responsible for their loss, even though they missed 27 straight threes in Game 7, but that's minor.
Yes. 0 for 27.
They also claim that the missed trip to the finals cost them $20 million in additional revenue, and this is all just a very, very bad look for the NBA. Here's the thing. Nobody likes talking about referees. Nobody. When we were talking about the Saints, we didn't like it. Okay, whenever we were arguing about catch, no catch. I mean, for the rest of time, we're gonna have to hear about if Des Bryant caught that ball or not. He did. It's just nobody likes talking about the referees, and Golden State is not immune from this either. Golden State has had their conversations about the referees too, and the question is the landing area situation.
Right.
Now, what happened with Kawhi is being brought up a lot when it comes to Golden State, because it did look like they weren't giving Chris Paul and James Harden room to land, and I believe you have to protect the shooter.
Right, with Zaza
in these situations
foot under his.
Yes. Yeah. Now I do think that Harden gave a little extra inch. Like, they were clearly trying to draw a foul, and like falling when you don't need to fall, but whatever. It's still a foul either way.
My issue is the Rockets talking. It's so hypocritical for them to complain about the referees when all season long we've heard and seen that James Harden lives at the free throw line.
Right,
That's it.
right.
That's
And their statistics completely back that up.
Yes.
And I know the city of Houston thinks we hate them. We don't. We're just keeping it real. Okay.
Right.
This is the thing. I don't want to hear complaining about the referees from Golden State or from the Houston Rockets.
Amen.
This is like it's such a complete lack of self-awareness. It's unbelievable. Just please be aware of who you are and what your reputation is. Now, you might not have to agree with it,
right,
but you know, okay? You know you get those calls, all right? You know you travel. We all know step back is a travel, but we like it because you be making shots, all right? But the thing about it is, it is definitely manipulation of the referees, okay? And I'm sure some of it was bad calls. Everybody gets bad calls. That's the name of the game. What I don't understand is how strategically this is a good thing to do. So Game 1 of the series, you want to come out and roast the referees? You want to roast them? You're not going to get any calls for the rest of the series. No. It's going to be called so loose now. The NBA has to fine them. I can't even imagine what the fine for this is going to be. They have no choice but to fine them. You get fined for having a comment about the referees. They put out a whole report. Man. And that's not a good look for the league. It makes the league look like the officiating sucks, and it doesn't. And then tonight, of all the things that could possibly happen, and the referees are scheduled ahead of time, so there's lots of conspiracy theorists out there. Just happens to be that this was scheduled for it.
Right.
But Scott Foster and Houston got that real Trill beef, for real, and they do not like him. And there are statistics that back up James Harden and him not getting along whatsoever. Like he's thrown him out.
Warriors don't like him either.
No, this is the first Scott Foster game that he will be covering the Rockets since February.
Right. So it's
and when that happened, they did the Rockets did a similar thing, complaining about refereeing, and particularly Scott Foster.
They called him out exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't get the strategy of all of this. I don't think it ends well for the Rockets. I don't want to hear Steve Kerr's pretending like he's flopping and stuff. Like there's just no self-awareness from either of these teams. It's just frustrating. I don't want to talk about the referees. I don't. Nobody feels bad for either of these teams in this situation. You've gotten so many calls, especially the Rockets. And I'm very rarely on the Warriors side. I'm really not on the Warriors side in this, but if I got to pick one, it's come on.
Right.
Like, we know you get the calls. Yeah. The statistics back up you live at the free throw line. So I hope this is the end of it. It's probably going to be the story of the entire series, unfortunately. Ugh. But it is, putting out that report, ooh, honey, child, ooh.
The NBA is
it's almost as if they had it ready.
That's what I want to get to.
I know they have good people that work in the statistics department and stuff like that. It's almost like,
No, that cut up was ready. The NBA is a reality TV show, and they're trying to introduce refs as an extra character, and we don't care about them. I don't want to know Scott Foster's name. I don't want to try to be in there like that. I don't want to be in there like that.
I don't. Right? I don't care.
You gotta know.
Ed Hockey is the only referee we recognize. Okay?
Yes.
And that's
Flex on him,
because
man.
Right.
yes,
And then the black one with the mustache.
yes, that's
Yeah,
it.
you. I like how I see him.
We're done. We don't need to do all this,
Yeah.
okay? I'm with you. It's
Yeah.
very frustrating. It's not fair to us.
They're trying to think they're pulling us in. That's what it is. They're just pulling us in. And I'm watching.
Yes.
It's time for High Key Low Key.
High key, low key.
Gotcha. It's time for high key, low key.
It's time for high key, low key.
I can't do it at the same time if you say the different things.
Okay. High key. Kyler Murray, number 1 overall draft pick.
Yes.
Low key. I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know. All right. So he's the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year award.
Okay.
He was reportedly been offered a $35 million contract. He's actually, I think, the first player ever to be drafted in the first round of the MLB and NFL.
Ooh.
So that is a fact. Facts. Sometimes
big
I remember
facts.
facts. Sometimes
Yeah.
I make stuff up. Sometimes I remember facts. This
Hey.
one is one of the times that I'm right.
Yes.
Good for me. So here's the thing about Kyler Murray. We've discussed Kyler Murray at length at an exhaustion
Yes.
level before this draft. And we all knew pretty much that he was going to go number 1 overall, as he should. Like, this is that's the team, that's what you wanted him, and you were going to move Josh Rosen, and that's fine. I do not have a lot of faith in what the Cardinals have going on with him. Like, I feel like this is a big, giant experiment. And like the Sean McVay thing kind of felt like that as well.
Yeah. That's true.
And it worked out.
Yeah.
But I also think that the Rams made a very visible, aggressive effort to bring in big time star names, pay
Yeah.
people, and Ndamukong Suh. Like they brought in players.
Well,
like
you can argue they made an effort to exact and execute the plan that Sean McVay had for the team,
Right.
Which is good because and this is what this is because clearly Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury this has been a part of the plan for a long time. This has been God's plan for a long time.
Right, it has.
Long time
it
coming,
has. As
is
he
what Kyler Murray
discussed.
said.
As he discussed, yes. Which is kind of why we were all like, all right, we're going to pretend like this is not going to happen, but
Right.
it is going to happen. And look, like if that's your guy, that's the guy you wanted, good for you. Go get it. Go be aggressive. But the difference to me is with Sean McVay and Cliff Kingsbury is very much an experimental situation.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Sure
Like
that.
he doesn't have a huge resume of success in college. He was an
at all.
assistant, never even really actually serving as an assistant at USC, and now he's the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. And cool, I'm all for opportunity. Like, great. I hope he is successful. I especially like when young people are successful, so old
Right.
people can stop talking about how young people can't do things because it's just annoying.
We in here.
Because you used to be young and you forgot because you're old. But so I do want it to work. I just don't. I wish that I had more something from Kyler Murray, and it's like the size, and then relying on the legs, and then
Yeah.
you like how much did you really firm up your offensive line? Like what all has actually changed? Because to me, in order for this to be a success, he has to be incredible, just out of this world incredible.
Yeah, and it seems as if this is my problem with him. It seems as if the rest of the team has to get energized from watching him make plays because he's not the leader that a Baker Mayfield is to get people ready to go before the game starts.
Right. That's a good point. That is a big criticism of him, that his person, and look, like we talked about, maybe it's an Arizona thing because Josh Rosen's personality was completely picked apart for the past year.
laid back.
By the way, he put out a very nice video congratulating Kyler Murray and even offering him a place to stay.
He's got the
his
condo.
placement on the
You're right,
market.
Yeah, you need to rent that thing
And
out.
for people who are skeptical of that, just, everyone doesn't do that when they're traded.
Right.
Josh Rosen has turned into a sympathetic figure, but he didn't really get a fair shake there, so that's why. And I hate when people are skeptical of nice things. Like, there's already enough shit in the world.
Yeah.
Like, can we just let somebody say something nice? And, like, if it turns out he's really a jerk, we'll find out eventually. Like, stop being so sad.
Yeah, especially this guy who just came from being drafted and thinking he had a franchise.
Right.
To shipped off and
He has
somebody else
every
coming
right
in.
to be upset.
He
to
could
be
say a
in
lot
his
of worse
feelings.
things.
Yes, he could have actually. I would have not been angry at him if he roasted them, and he
Yeah.
chose not to. And like the whole thing with like him unfollowing them and that being a big deal. Like, why would he continue to follow them? I follow people all the time. If you post things I don't like, I unfollow you. Who cares? Anyway. Overall, I just don't know I don't know what to expect from this situation. I'm rooting for it to work because I like new things, but I don't know what to expect from the situation. All right. High key, a super fast kid is Loki White. White Lightning. All right. Matthew Bowling, a Texas high school senior. Have you seen this?
I've
All right,
seen
so I'm
Matthew.
gonna nerd out track style right now. I ran track for most of my childhood into high school, and I was a Division I recruited athlete. No big deal. But I love the 100-meter dash.
And Joy's I know we talked about racing and we still got to do that. Joy's very fast. I saw her in Houston sprint from the bathroom during Undisputed with heels on and a dress, and I was concerned with every step she took that an ankle was going to get blown out, or I was like, this isn't responsible, how fast she's moving with things in her hands. I was blown away.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah,
because
it was
you know what?
literally blown away.
It's the work you do behind the scenes that that
Really
goes
is.
unnoticed.
And it's the other people, like, you got to have people, disciples, if you will, to like witness the moments, to speak the gospel.
So what he's talking about, there's a video of it on Instagram somewhere. But basically, for whatever reason, the bathrooms are never close to anything. So
And remote shoots,
even
never.
here,
Even
here, the bathrooms are very, very far away from the studio. So during Undisputed, we have very short breaks. Really, no one cares about this inside, whatever. But I would have to sprint to the bathroom and back. Undisputed, I get one bathroom break per show because it's that far away.
Right.
And there's the things I have to take off in order to use the restroom, as we know, biologically. So in Houston, I have a dress. I wear dresses.
Yeah, it's biologically. That's what it is. We're
I don't like have physical things I have to take off.
I'm with you.
How is that confusing to anyone?
No.
Anyway, so it is science. So in Houston, I had to use the restroom during our one break, and it was very far away, and I literally have never ran faster in my entire life. And I had to warn, in order to make this happen, I had to warn everyone on set, I am using the restroom the instantaneous second that we go off air. I must be unplugged from everything because I'm literally like strapped to the chair, and I had to sprint, and I made it back in time. And I didn't twist an ankle, but even if I did twist an ankle, nothing would have happened because I have very, very strong ankles. Okay. Anyway, so Matthew
White
Bowling.
Lightning. Yes.
Ran the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds, which is the fastest open high school 100-meter time under all conditions.
Dang.
The record won't stand because it was recorded with a tailwind of 4.2 miles per hour. Haters.
What? Tailwinds affect
Haters. Now, you don't have on here why this matters, which is Usain Bolt's time. It's very, very close to Usain Bolt's time.
I'm watching this. I'm watching the video right now.
The video is incredible.
Does it look like the wind's blowing him?
I'm trying to.
It does. It looks like God is blowing him because he is absolutely moving.
Oh man.
Right? Homeboy's fast.
Usain Bolt ran it 9.58.
Okay, so 9.58, so it's 0.40 seconds off from Usain Bolt's time. A star is born, people. Track nerds delight.
New PR, baby. Ain't nothing like a new PR. Ain't nothing like a new PR
Oh,
here in
it's so
track.
good. It's so much fun. It's the best day.
You PR in a meet.
And everyone knows it, too. Oh, you PR. It's the best day. It's the best day.
That's it right there.
If you didn't run track, I just feel sorry for you.
100 meters. 100 meters is the true test of champions
it's probably
for speed.
similar to gymnastics. Just like track life. It's probably similar to gymnastics, like the meets. No. I mean, like the meets, like you sit around all day, and wait for your event, and you got to warm up for like 2 hours to perform for like 35 seconds.
You know where everyone's squad is because everyone's like wearing the
everyone's
same
hanging
outfits.
and like eating sandwiches and orange slices together.
Yeah. It's that's them from over there.
Right. The only difference is it's not co-ed.
You can tell her if she's wrong.
No, I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
It
go.
is accurate.
Yeah.
We know we're athletes. We know what we're talking about.
Man.
All right. Okay. So the time has come.
What it is.
It's time to talk about Avengers.
Okay.
All right. So, spoiler alert.
Okay. No, we got to excuse some
All right.
people.
How many people have to leave?
Bunch of nerds gonna leave the room real quick.
Okay,
We'll
so
stand
3
by.
people. I want you to acknowledge it's
awesome.
Tuesday
Ashley.
I'm
afternoon.
gonna jump on the.
3
hold on, let me
people
get on
have
that.
to leave the room. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna make fun of them now. Here's the thing about the people who aren't in this room. They don't care that much.
They don't
That's
care
all there is
much.
to it.
And
If
don't
you're in
it-
Los Angeles and you haven't, there's a theater on every corner in Los Angeles.
What?
Because the thing is, that's kind of what we do in Los Angeles. We make content. It's the content
It
center
is.
of the universe.
It is, and we watch it.
Yes, and we watch it
talk
in the
about
theaters.
it.
We talk about it.
Yeah.
We take pictures of the people that are in it. That's what we do out here. So anyway, I thought it was excellent. Excellent.
It was very late, so I felt all the ebbs and flows. But during it, multiple times, I was like, "This is the perfect button for everything that's going on." they had some weird choices, but like it was a good.
We can
it was a
speak
good,
openly
great
and freely
movie.
about the choices because the spoiler people are not in here.
Okay, Thor being fat was a stretch.
Oh my god, it was my favorite part. It was the best part. He was hilarious.
Fine. Okay, like I understand that.
When he asked for a Bloody Mary, relatable.
No, okay. Why did you love it? Because I can push back
Okay.
against.
Well, first of all, where the is Captain Marvel the whole time? Okay, she's supposed to be saving the world. Where is she? Nobody cares about these other planets. We know that already. All right. We only care about Earth. All right, and we barely care about Earth.
Yes.
So
She came through in a clutch.
yes, but first of all, my biggest beef obviously was why the white man got to save the world. Okay, because I talked about this at length, and it just.
The women set them up for that though. There's a big scene where all the women Avengers
Captain Marvel got smacked by Thanos, and then tell me when I'm lying. Got smacked by Thanos, and then Iron Man picked it up and saved the world. That was my number one beef, and I don't know why I didn't associate the big announcement from Chris Evans as being done as Captain America, that he was at some point either going to die or transition on, and people are going to be so mad about Black Captain America, and I am so hyped for it because Captain America is my least favorite Marvel character.
That's fair, and
and now there's Blackie's my second favorite.
That is good. I was reading comics when they switched over to the Black Captain America, and I was excited that they brought that into the cinematic universe. I obviously don't want to see Anthony Mackie play Captain America in his own film. Like, no,
Why?
thank you. Unless Spike Lee's directing it, I don't want to see Anthony Mackie do anything. It's going to be a TV show. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, probably straight to that Amazon or not, like the new Disney streaming thing. Yeah, because Anthony Mackie is, I love him to death, but he's a television star. But yeah, no, I can see the handing over. I don't know about any of it, honestly. Like it was. I'm going to rewatch it and have a good time rewatching it.
You have to rewatch
the
it.
battles were great. I think everyone having trouble moving on 5 years later felt a little forced.
What else are they supposed to? This is a whole storyline.
Yeah.
It seems like you don't like the movie at all.
And
you don't get any of the points of the movie.
Focus groups.
If half the planet disappeared, like the Bible says is going to happen, then the people would have focus groups.
Spoiler alert on the Bible too.
I mean, read Revelations.
Okay, it was very fun. It was a great button on a series that arguably went too long. In the Marvel universe, just what it is.
There was a lot of reveals. I don't have a problem with any part of the movie. I enjoyed all of it. I thought it was an incredible watch, and I don't. There was nothing that I would have changed about it, except for Captain Marvel needed to save the world. So maybe the most important thing. Loser power rankings. Loser power rankings. These are the losers of the week. Okay, regular season record.
Don't do it.
Can we get one of those things?
What?
I just want the DJ button.
We gotta get soundboard.
Oh my god.
We gotta get soundboard.
Must. It's the most fun thing about doing radio is that you can just press those things and just
get some queued
insert
up.
them.
Kawhi's laugh just on command.
Yes. I know. I missed that.
Put that down in
anyway,
interviews.
yeah, exactly. All right, thank you. We don't even need one. Just make the sounds ourselves.
No, we do need them.
All right, so the Bucks. Ooh. All right, so look, I'm not going to overreact to one game.
You not?
It just. They didn't look good.
You text the group saying they look trash.
They look trash.
So that seems like a reaction. I'm just saying, it seems like you reacted.
Look good at all. Like 112 to 90, and then you got Giannis 7 for 21. He gonna have to play way better than that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to overreact to the whole MVP conversation. I wish people would stop doing that because the MVP award actually is a regular season award,
Correct.
and he did have an excellent regular season. They had the best record in basketball. So yes, he does deserve to get the MVP of the regular season. However, it's looking like the Celtics are going to dominate this series. And I try not to overreact to one game. I try, but they won on the road and it was so convincing. And Celtics just look great. And they just look like they have so much more talent than Milwaukee. And it just did not look good. And I'm not going sweep or anything ridiculous. I think it'll still go 6. But I just don't think it's going to be a pretty series. Like, I was very excited for this. I thought it was going to be just back and forth and talent and fireworks, and who knows, maybe tonight will be that. But I just was not impressed.
Well, how bad did the Sixers look against the Raptors in Game 1 versus?
But I expected that though.
Versus
I
what they
expected that.
But you expect to bounce back? from the Sixers?
I didn't expect it to be a short series.
Because now I'm thinking they might win the series. I was thinking the Raptors.
Everyone
win the series
does that
regardless.
from game to game. It's like whoever wins has the momentum and it's over. I realize I'm doing that, but they didn't. The Raptors didn't look horrible in that game. They just lost. Like, you're going to lose games in these series. That's like, unless it's the Warriors last year and you're going to sweep everybody. Like,
the Bucks can't be that.
I don't think the Bucks are going to get swept. I'm not being dramatic.
I'm saying they could just have lost the game. I'll say defensively, the way they looked.
Game one at home.
Yeah.
Like, you could have lost that game, but not like that.
Yeah.
Like, you can lose game one, but not like that. So I don't have a problem with the Sixers winning. Like, go win on the road. You should do that. If you are legit, you have to win on the road if you're going to win the series.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't think that the Raptors are done at all. I think the Raptors are still going to win that series, but I just don't. I was just not impressed with the Bucks. It was trash. It's got to be better than that.
Al Horford stepping up.
All right,
defending.
so Dabo Swinney. So he just signed a 10-year, $93 million contract extension.
Dabo Swinney.
Anyway, it's almost $10 million per year. And then he had a quote that's now circulating, because anytime that a coach gets a big contract, everyone starts digging up like stuff that they say about paying players,
right.
and people start talking about paying players, which is a fair conversation because players don't get paid, as we know, and $10 million a year is a lot of money. $93 million is a lot of money for anyone. So, and not that he hasn't earned it. And not that that's not the marketplace for the top level college football coaches. There's nothing egregious about this contract other than the fact that his players don't get paid. So this quote actually is from, I believe, like 5 years ago. It's not a recent quote. So it's kind of a little bit of fake news going on out there. Do a tiny bit of research. Like Josh Rosen, read books. Anyway, so he did talk about paying players 5 years ago. And he said, as far as paying players, professionalizing college athletics, that's where you lose me. I'll go do something else because there's enough entitlement in this world as it is. Now that's an annoying quote. I'm with everyone on the annoyance level of that quote. Like, there's very little self-awareness in that quote. One, college athletics is a profession. That's why you get a check.
Woo.
So yes, it's already
True
been
that.
professionalized. You're not volunteering your time.
Right.
And
Yes.
neither are the players. They get compensated in a scholarship and room and board and some money for food. So
Some schools.
And
For
an
some schools.
education, Joy.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Don't
you
forget.
did I
cut.
say tuition?
Yeah, but they don't
but
say
that's the
tuition as
real
much as
gift.
they say education. You're getting an education that costs money. You have to play football to get that.
Education does cost money.
Yeah.
Student loans are a pain. I get it. And I'm with you that you should get an education. It's very important. And I'm also with they should be compensated for any likeness of them that is used. And they should get a portion of these bowl monies that these colleges get. And they should have health insurance after they graduate or after they finish playing for your team. Because these guys sometimes have debilitating injuries and then they don't have insurance.
Right.
So all those things I just said are facts. And this quote is annoying. And I hate when people talk about entitlement in these situations. Like, don't throw that word around. It's always back to like the millennial conversation of like people, like everyone's just so soft now. Like everyone just wants things given to them. Okay, there's a little bit of the given to them thing going on. I can admit that. I was a better intern than some interns I've had experiences with. Not here, of course. But I'm saying, like, in general, some people don't want to work as hard anymore.
Right.
And there's an effect on social media. And maybe Instagram is ruining people's minds. Who knows what it is. But it's just, this quote feels like, and I get it was 5 years ago, so maybe he has a difference of opinion now. I'm sure he probably doesn't as far as paying players.
Yeah.
But it feels a little...
I'm okay with this because Dabo Swinney is someone who was a walk-on, earned a scholarship, played for Alabama, was very poor. His mom lived in the dorms with him while he was at Alabama. So, like, he's experienced how hard it is to be a college athlete and have no money and still try to make ends meet. And now he's found success coaching. And I think he's got a lot of respect from people who he does coach and recruits because of that. And he's lived it. So I take what he says with a dose of like actual reality because it's coming from a position of real knowledge.
He's been through it.
Yeah.
I feel you, but just because something was that way doesn't mean it has to always be that way.
Okay,
like,
that's fair.
Just
That's
because
fair.
we struggle differently
Yes.
than
Yes.
our kids are going to struggle
Yes.
with certain things. Just that doesn't mean we have to still do that. Like, I think I appreciate, research more than, say, my 2-year-old nephew will eventually, because I remember having to go look stuff up in the dictionary as opposed to Googling it, or going to the encyclopedia, or going to a library and typing in the kind of book that I need, and then go walk and get it and put the smelly book on the table and try and look through the book for the part that I need. Right. So maybe I appreciate it a little bit more, but that doesn't mean that this system isn't much more effective, and I don't prefer it that way, and it's better for everyone. All right. Finally, number 1. So people that don't like things spoiled for them. I'm not going to continue this trend, but we are going to talk about spoiler alerts. So don't worry, we're not going to tell you what happened. Right. Although at this point, I am going to say, if you are out there on planet Earth and you have not seen Avengers Endgame, or you haven't seen this week's Game of Thrones, I don't feel sorry for you. I have just we kindly dismissed everyone. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Maybe you had something going on this weekend. Okay, so you have a pass. Yeah. He's staring at me like he is waiting for me to say. John Hill is mean mugging me right now. Like I feel like my mother was about to scold me.
She felt the heat on her neck and turned around.
Like he is waiting for me to spoil this for him. I'm not going to do it. Trust me.
You guys didn't get it out in the 20 minutes.
Well, no.
We're talking about spoilers.
We're not going to spoil it. We're talking about spoilers. So Lesean McCoy went and saw Avengers Endgame and immediately left the theater and tweeted the biggest part of the movie and spoiled it for however many hundreds of thousands of followers he has on his page. I, in fact, hadn't seen Avengers yet and saw the story trending and immediately swiped away. So I didn't have any inclination of what happened other than the fact that I knew he spoiled it. And people were crushing him for it, and rightfully so. Yeah. Even Marvel and the stars of the movie made a conscious effort, don't spoil Endgame, trending on Twitter. Everyone involved in the movie, like, please don't spoil it, because this has been 11 years in the making. If I'm correct on that, I think it feels right. I feel like I read that.
No, you're right.
John Heller is covering his face right now. I'm sorry that you don't appreciate anything fun, but these are facts. People like to enjoy these things, all right? And they're huge fans and have time and money invested in their lives in this. And
Shady saved some people some time and some money.
No, he ruined something incredibly fun.
Okay, 3 hours?
Look at how mad John Hill was about to be at the thought that I might say something, let alone me actually saying something. He may never speak to me again if I was to spoil it.
To your point, you said if you haven't seen it, you don't care, right? I'm saying the people who are the hardcore Avengers Endgames and Game of Thrones watchers have filters on their timeline excluding specific words and
I was like,
and
I
trending.
Can't go that far.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't care that much. I would rather see. I've seen some spoilers. I saw the meme that said,
"Don't." So here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not going to spoil it for you. Like, I'm not going to walk around the office and be like, bro, can you believe this happened at the end of the movie to a random person and then have them stare at me and say no because I didn't see the movie yet. Because that's just a jerk thing to do. Yeah. And I will ask, have you seen the movie? Yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
Well, then we can continue this conversation.
Right. Yes,
have you seen the movie?
Yes.
No, I haven't. Please see the movie so I can talk about it with you, but you only have a certain amount of time before I care about your opinion about it anymore. And so people are out there complaining, like, oh, people are tweeting about Avengers, I haven't seen it yet. Oh, stop tweeting about Game of Thrones, I haven't seen it yet. Bro. Okay, as far as Game of Thrones, I have no sympathy because Game of Thrones has been doing this thing for a long time now. If you are a true Game of Thrones fan and it matters that much to you, watch it when it's on. If you can't do it, get up early for work and watch it in the morning, okay? Or just stay off of social media.
The East Coast version at 6 too.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways around it.
Yes.
Endgame, I have much more sympathy for because, like, some people have some stuff going on the weekend. You couldn't get tickets.
You can't watch it from home.
Right. Yeah. So exactly. So I have a lot more sympathy for that. But at some point or another, it's like you can't crush everyone else's fun. Like, we all need to have fun too. We need to be able to talk about this and have fun too. We can't protect everybody. And you've had like 6 days now. But the day did you leave the theater?
Right. Yeah. It's.
You haven't even given everyone an entire weekend.
Yeah, that. I mean, Lesean McCoy has made football players look bad since he started playing football. So I think this is just on par for him.
I just can't. You can't do it. All right, what's in the culture report this week?
Season 8, Episode 3 of Game of Thrones, titled The Long Night, featured some of the series' most celebrated characters terrified and ready to fight for their lives against the Night King, who is apparently so cold-hearted and icy that he's immune to fire. And speaking of spoiler alerts, Who run the world, girls? Who run the... Okay, here's how everything played out. The Lord of Light gave Melisandre the power to light it up like a bic and give the best advice in the Seven Kingdoms. Lyanna Mormont ain't scared of no giants. Brienne of Tarth is still better fighter than the Hound, always has been. And Arya Stark helps orchestrate the biggest comeback in television history since Tom Brady came back 28-3 in Super Bowl 51. Yes, thank you. Men fought bravely, but it was the ladies of the Winterfell who ended the winter with a blade made of Valyrian steel in the Night King's gut in the backyard over there by the tree. I could go on and on, but what did you think about the battle in Winterfell?
Okay, so I hope anyone who watches Game of Thrones in here already saw it because there was no warning whatsoever. About that. We know you don't care, Heller. And also, the thing, I just want to say this before I start discussing how amazing this episode was. The thing about where like people act like everyone on Earth watches Game of Thrones, they don't. Half this room does not watch Game of Thrones.
Yes.
So like the memes about like nobody and then like, oh, you watch Game of Thrones. Like there's a lot of people who don't watch Game of Thrones. Right. So it's okay. Like it's not, it's no longer a thing that you don't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Well, you guys talk to my girlfriend Emily about it. She really wants to talk to someone about it.
Did she watch it?
Yeah.
I
was like asleep and she was trying to wake me up.
Wow, that must be so annoying for her. Because Earl doesn't watch Game of Thrones, but he will watch it with me. Yeah. And I've actually found it's very easy to explain Game of Thrones when you just simplify it. Like these are ice zombies. These people all used to fight each other. Now they don't fight each other anymore because they got to beat the ice zombies. Right. She's an evil witch. I don't know where she came from, but she's about to die because she's secretly old. Mm-hmm. Like everything's very easy to explain when you just break it down to like the bare minimum of what the character is. Yeah,
I when I find myself explaining it to Michelle and I can hear when she's saying yes and agree and like I hear you when she's not hearing me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She doesn't get it. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all very simple.
Yeah,
it's very simple. Especially once you just compare them to like other simple things. Yeah, it's really it's all ice zombies.
Can we stop with the sports quoto shops and memes and comparisons?
Never!
Though? Like this is a sports podcast. I don't want to see X meaningless character to me on Jordan's head. Like, shouldn't that be blasphemous to you, Joy?
It's not actually, because what Arya did was Dame level excellent in the clutch.
Did not. It's like, how did I not expect that?
Right?
Yeah,
of course. As soon as she ran off, I was like, oh, I mean, it's a given. Yeah, like, where's Arya this whole time? Oh, she's flying to the sky. But the drop move was the coldest though, right? Because I thought she was gonna pull the Loria Mormont, whatever her name is, little girl. I thought she was gonna pull the giant move, but not like she got it with the hands.
No,
though.
and you could, if you watch it, she had when the Ice King had it like that, like hemmed up, she had this hand in the back, so he wouldn't even think about that hand, right? And then so she. Drop that and then.
Yes, she saved the whole world, as women tend to do.
Winter
and of
is
course,
over.
As I originally predicted, Cersei chilling with wine is
don't do this.
by all y'all foolishness. Y'all gotta have the Night King. Let your army get decimated and turned into some more ice zombies. I'm chilling over here.
None of that's gonna happen anymore.
In the sun, I got all the wine I can drink. Even though I am pregnant, so I don't know how that's gonna work out. But like, there's
with her brother's baby.
Yeah, with the brother's baby. And so there's like lots of things going on, but she ain't involved in none of it.
All I'm gonna say is, we talked about how great it was. I thought it was one of the best battle scenes that I've seen on television.
It's not better than Battle of the Bastards.
I was gonna Battle of Bastards was my favorite. Yeah, this was different. It was different. It was just different. It was more character driven, specifically for the characters.
It felt more important than Battle of the Bastards. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, because Ramsay Bolton, like, come on now, get out of here.
I mean, he had to go.
Yeah,
he had to get up.
Go. But I will say this, and what Jeremy was talking about earlier. I'm disappointed.
It was mad.
Why?
I'm disappointed. So the rest of these 3 episodes, you gonna go back to their storyline talking about these kingdoms and who's sitting on the throne. I don't care about the throne like that.
What? It's called Game of Thrones.
I care
about these stupid Ice King.
The first scene of the whole series was the White Walkers hunting down somebody, so I was glued from the jump. And then now.
We don't know anything about these stupid ice zombies. I'm so glad we're done with them. Okay, goodbye. Thank you. The good characters are all still alive. I care about them. I want to know what happens with Jon.
That's another problem.
Daenerys.
Too many people survived that battle. Too many people survived. That's crazy.
We needed all the important people to survive.
I need Thanos come in there.
Rest in peace. Pour some out for the homies. But we needed to find out who's going to be on the throne. I got to find out what's going on with Jon and Daenerys like right now.
Forget it. Game of Thrones. Thanks for all you guys done. Appreciate y'all.
No, it's not over. It ain't over. All right, thanks for joining us this week. Thank you to Jordin Canada for coming on with us. Make sure you follow her on Instagram. It's JAEECAN. J-Can, I think.
J-Can,
yeah,
baby.
J-Can, like Jordin Canada. UCLA point guard and Seattle Storm point guard now. She was great, so make sure you go and follow her. Follow Brandon at Newman Show 99, myself, Joy Taylor Talks, the podcast Maybe I'm Crazy Pod, and subscribe on YouTube on the Maybe I'm Crazy podcast, and check Brandon out Friday morning for the Maybe I'm Crazy Pod updates.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm not.